So with all the sockets in, we're going to move on to continuing with the manual as written. And the next step here is to socket the two 8-pin sockets. We did them slightly out of order from this, but the sockets are, now you want to check power for shorts and grounds again. Or for shorts, power and ground for shorts. Geez, learn to talk. So that's ground here to here. I don't see shorts anyplace. I should see continuity, and really no place else. Should see continuity. So I don't think I've created shorts between pins. Doesn't look like it. I think we're absolutely fine here. So we should see the same kind of thing down here in the memory sockets. We should see continuity this way, but we shouldn't see shorts. We kind of looked at the PC board the same way before assembly. So it would be there. I quick and dirty test. That all looks okay. Look, mount the card edge connectors next. Really? I'm surprised all these high-profile components are being put in before the resistors, etc. But like I said, we started this. I'm going to go ahead and do it in the order indicated. I know I often violate that after I claim I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try to do it with this. Like I say, I cheated slightly on the sockets because I didn't realize I was going to finish them in one pass, and I put those 8-pin sockets in a little early. But there are the edge connectors. Is there a direction they go in? I don't see anything that labels a pin 1, anything like that. It says they go in kind of tight. No, that's not particularly tight. Okay. So maybe the ones that that he used fit tight. These don't. They do cover up stuff. Oh, that's incorrect. I don't like that it's covering up part of the silk screen there. You know, I keep saying I'm going to follow the build order as called out, and no, I'm not. So I've tried to commit to that to this point. These will be going in near last because it covers up part of the silk screen, and I want to be able to read the silk screen and see things. So page 7. We're not going to check bus continuity at the moment. 44 decoupling capacitors. No. So when I flip the board over to sit over, it'll sit on the decoupling caps. Sometimes, man. That's miscellaneous hardware. That's a bag of resistors. The coupling caps are pretty low profile. Maybe they're okay to do at this point. Everything else down there is logic. Yeah, apologies for flip-flopping so quickly there. No, I'm just sitting here going, going to do resistors next. They're nice and low profile. The board will currently sit nice and flat on all the sockets. There's just no reason not to get these in next. Solder in resistors. There's a whole slew of them here. The bags are all labeled really nice. Same thing I said before. Whoever did the work to bag these, thank you. That's awesome. Those are all loose resistors, and those are 3 1K SIP, 1K SIP. Looks like they're all the same size. I know I spotted some of these while I was soldering. Can I spot them again? These all 1K, probably. K12, D10, and C10. So K12, there's one right there. Pin 1 is going to be the square pin. So he is most likely going to go in that orientation. You know what? I'm going to hold off on these because they're a little tiny bit proud of the sockets. And we'll go to the fixed resistors. Which are labeled here. We've got 12K, 12K, and 220K. So those 3 there. So let's find those. Was it 220K and 12Ks? So there's a single 220K. If I can get it out of the little bag. Yep, red, yellow. I believe that's 220K. The chip or the lead former. Will look like these were on 0.4 centers. I am bending the first one here to find out. I'm going to put the tolerance band to the left. And we'll see if that drops in. And it does, thank you. So we want 2 12Ks. I really should have just started with these. But I did not. I need a pair of decent flush cutters. I've got so many that are just junk. They're just worn out. And there's 2 12Ks there, so we'll leave these out because we can consume the other 2 here in just a second. Fumble fingers. Well, it's going to be a nice looking build. I've got the window here open, and even though the sun is out here in the Seattle area, that breeze is chilly. Those look absolutely fine. We can trim the leads here. It's probably off camera. Apologies if I am. Apologies if the focus is wrong. That took care of those. I need a pencil. So those have been taken care of. We've got two 12Ks and 100 ohm. 3 meg, 47, 2.7. Oh, these are in sort order, I do believe. And I say that, and then they were not quite in sort order, but they were really close. We need a single 100 ohm. Actually, there's 400 ohms, right, or 500 ohms right in this general area. So we will get all those in at the same time, assuming I can get them out of the bag. Should set the bags aside, but hold on to them because they have markings on them, so I'll know I've consumed those. Try to find the spot in the forming tool where the resistor has the least side-to-side slop. It's slightly different between different manufacturers, and even different value resistors from the same manufacturer. The differences are slight, but I look for the spot that's the tightest. I get the bit centering. That's a little too tight. Doesn't quite drop in. Just because I want the best centering I can get. There's no reason not to, since I have the tool. So there's 100 ohm right here. I do have to say, as I've worked on this board and realized as it comes together, the layout of it, I really am more and more like the way this is laid out. And what I mean by that is, yeah, I complained in the first video the notches are pointing towards me and not up. But sitting in this position, all of the IC markings are visible. They're just there right below the IC. And pin 1 is right here on my right hand, first pin. And that's actually really logical. It makes a lot of sense. And it's just the assembly here is kind of maybe changing my opinion a bit, just because there's just something about the way it's presented that I like. There's a certain logic to it that just works. Got two more 12Ks. I smell like laundry detergent or something. It smells odd. There's two 12Ks, and they go here. Get it in there, there, and there. This gets more and more into the reason why I should have done resistors first, but I didn't. If you've noticed me reaching off camera there and coming back, it's because the tip is rotated, and so the flat is not where it'll lay flat up against the pad, and it's just got to do with how I grabbed the handle. Cleaning seems to rotate it a bit. So with these JBC pencils, that tip will rotate in there. It's in very firmly, but it can be rotated, and I also, I guess, tend to grip slightly different at times, and I don't like them. We should clip those first. And I don't want to grab with a whole lot of pressure. I want the tool to just kind of float in my hand. Not like I'm holding it super firm. It should just be tight enough that it just hangs there. So, ow. Ow, ow. That was entertaining. I had 3 different resistor leads poke me in the arm. Why is that smell so strong? I'm assuming it's coming from outside, but I don't know that. That should conclude the 12Ks. So that takes care of those 2 and that 100, and these 400s right here are all in. And that looks nice and clean. I'm happy with that. So we should have a 27 ohm. Looks like there's 2 of them that go in. Yep. So we'll put both of those in. Assuming I can get them out of the, bag. Oops. Yep, those seem like reasonable, the markings on them. There's a 27 ohm at K14. So K14 is way up here high someplace. There's a 27 right there. I'll put the tolerance band up. And there's a second one at B14. Oh, that breeze coming in is chilly. I may have to close that window. B14, is that what it said? B14. 27 right there, okay. So let's get some tape over this one. This one. So far, really happy with how the build's coming together. That one and that one. I should have a 47K. Which I do remember seeing in here. There was 47 ohm. 47K right there. That's a single resistor at J13. And I see it marked there. It's just really a matter of getting the little bag open and removing it. Again, whoever bagged these and printed little tags and stuff, I keep thanking you, and I'm going to thank you some more. Thank you. It's is that still on? This is very nice. It's 47K at J13. It's up there. Looks like it's on 0.4 centers. The resistor itself is actually fairly wide. There's that really sweet, soapy bad smell. I'm not sure what it is. Shoot. Doggone it. That lead did not take solder. And I managed to fill a pad next to it, both of these, where there's a diode goes with solder. So I'm not sure exactly what just happened there. Obviously, I don't know what I did. That was really weird. In this case, we will just use the hand tool here to clear those. Not exactly sure why that happened, but it did. That was 47K. Probably down here at the bottom of the pile. And it's at J14. Lots of resistors. Of course, there's a lot of analog going up there. Video, joystick input, that kind of stuff, but or joystick input output. Video and cassette input output is what I meant. So there's a 10 ohm at J14, which is right here. And there's a 1K ohm. Let's see if we can find it. 47 ohm, 150. There's a single 1K ohm. We'll go ahead and put it in as well, just because it's a single. At F14, right there. Tape is wearing out. So that picked up the 10 ohm at J14 and the 1K at F14. 1K at F14. Two 47s and a 150. We're all in a little group there together at J14. I'm confused here. Have I screwed up? 150 ohm and 247. No. Sometimes, man, the brain just turns to jello. At A1. That's why I wasn't seeing those. So, at A1. Actually, we'll do this one first. A1, that corner down there. Thank you. That was very helpful having you fall off of there. So that's the 150 ohm. And in this case, I've got the tolerance band because I rotated the board to the right. I needed a spot here where the leads could hang down through. 50, 47. There's a 47 here. And there's a 47 right there. Don't really need two pieces of tape there. There's tape. I need to, I'm gonna have to get some fresh tape. The adhesive on that has pretty much been worn off, been used, got stuff stuck in it, whatever. It's just not tacky anymore. So that takes care of the 247s and the 150. Running out of resistors. There is a 3.3 mega ohm and a 12K. I'm confused. We've put all the 12Ks in. 1, 2. Have we not? 1, 2, 3, 4. This says there should have been a fifth 12K. Have I put a 12K in a spot incorrectly? Or is there a difference here between the two builds? 12, 12, 12, 12. I don't remember if there was 4 or 5 12Ks. I really don't remember how many was in the bag, but it should have been one of the first bags. B3. B3. There's a 12K and a 3.3 meg. Little bag, please open. Not sure. This could be me making a mistake. It could just be a difference in the bombs. You know, the part kit I built, it has nothing to do with where I got the motherboard from, or the main board. So, you know, nothing says that the parts match exactly 100%. I expected there to be some variance. That might be a variance right there. Not a big deal if it is, but I want to make sure I haven't got a 12K where I should have something else, because that's always possible. That's the 3.3 meg. So that guy is in. I should have checked this 1-to-1. There's a 2K, a 2.7K, and a 1.5K right there. And those are all going at J14, so they are right there. This was the 1.5K. Oh, that is brown. Brown, green, red. 1500. Yep. Okay. It didn't look brown at first. It looked red, and it was like, no, that wouldn't make sense here. And the 2.7K. Red. Violet red, is that correct? I'm going to assume it is. I can't really read the 2.7. The color isn't super crisp on that resistor. The reds are obvious, but that center color isn't. And 2.0 red, black, red, it looks like, which would be 2.0 followed by 2 zeros or 2K. Yep. Not sure why I'm not trimming those off now and all of a sudden pulling them off my hand, because that tends to leave glue behind, and I can feel it on the leads, and that's the reason I trim those off, is I don't want that glue that held the paper in place getting down in the via and making the soldering more difficult. That was my lights flashing. It is a little bit stormy out there. Not stormy is the wrong word. A little bit windy. It was very rainy this morning. It's now just windy. With all the trees here in Seattle. And lots of above ground power in places. Limbs fall on power distribution lines. And the power goes out. Very common here. I have been through some very long power outages. I used to live much more remote, especially. Well, we're quickly running out of resistors. So that was that set right there. So this shows a 330 ohm left. And it just shows me being short a resistor. That's interesting. So either I screwed up, or I have a resistor in the wrong place. So I'll have to go over the board here once I get this resistor in and see if everybody makes sense. 330 ohm at A1 is right there. Possible I was shorted a resistor when it was kitted. It's possible that what they kitted towards was a different, revision of this Rev 0 board, etc., etc. I'm just not going to know most likely what the difference is. So let's look at this a little bit closer. 12K, 1-2 orange, 12K, yeah, brown, red, orange. 220K, red, red, yellow, 12K, yeah, 1-2 yellow, 100 ohm, 12K, yep, 1, 2, followed by 3 zeros, 12K, all 400 ohms. 10 ohm, we just put these in, 1.5K, 2 0K, 2 7K, yep. 27 ohm, 330 ohm, 47 ohm, 150 ohm, 47 ohm. So it really does appear I was most likely one 12K ohm resistor short. No big deal. I'm sure I've got one over there. It's just a matter of me standing up to grab it. I am not going to worry about it right now. That I can take care of off camera rather than go dig. Although I can see the bin from here. Let me just go grab the resistor. You'll just have to entertain yourself for 15 seconds. So. $12K. Yep, brown, red, orange. Yeah, I could have, of course, provided all my own resistors for this one, but they came with the kit, and it was just like, you know, they come with the kit. There's no reason to not take them. So this is a 12K at B3. At B3, it's right there. Hopefully with these really short leads I can get it in here. Oh, that's chilly. Amazing how chilly that breeze is. Got the slider open downstairs for the dogs, which is part of why there's so much air moving here. So, okay, that took care of the 330 ohm. Added that 12K to complete those. The 3 SIP resistors I'm going to hold off on. I'm going to start to move things out of order here, just for convenience. Yep, after committing, like I do every build, I commit to follow the build order, and then of course we may never assemble these components in this bag because I cannot seem to open the bag. So transistors, transistors, transistors. What I want are the inductor and the diode. Transistors are going to have to be looked at a little closer because I think the package these are in are different from the outline, so I need to do some validation. But we can take care of these. Yeah, the orient. So there should be a IN914 at J14, or 1N. I always do that. 1N914, not an IN. Jeez. 1N914, just a small signal diode, really common. And it's going into position J14, so it's up here high. I don't remember seeing this, I believe, up here. Just there it is. 1.4. It looks like it's also on a 0.4. Try to hold it somewhat centered there. There's a band marking in the silk screen, and I'll rotate the part to be oriented the same as the. Is that on a 0.3? Yeah, that's not on a 0.4. Wonderful. Oh yeah, no, that's on a, what did I bend this on? 0.5? Doggone it. There's a resistor next to it with the same footprint. So it should have been on a 0.4. So I'm confused why that was so far off. Honestly don't know. I have no clue what I just did. I really must have bent it on the wrong part of the tool. Single diode goes into place. And get it checked off. 27 microfarad choke right there is this guy. Looks like a big resistor. It's actually an inductor. So it's one of those potential traps. As you're learning about components, is yeah, physically it looks a lot like a resistor, but it's actually an inductor, and it's a really common size for an inductor. And of course, the bag's marked 27. Well, it's just 27 microfarad. I mean 27 microhenry. So the bag is marked wrong. What is the spacing? What is the spacing on it? Looks like it's on a 0.5. Is it really on? Oh yeah, it is tight up against the package. We'll bend it by hand. Of course, part of the video, I'm sure. So that takes care of this guy. 201 is 20 followed by 10 or 200 ohm. Yeah, I know marking a 200 ohm part with 201 seems weird, but the convention is, you know, first digit, second digit, followed by number of zeros. So labeled 201, it's actually a 200 ohm potentiometer. I'm going to solder. Wonderful. One pin, and then just check it to make sure it's still square, especially after dropping the board. I'm going to reflow that quick and push it up flush. Takes care of that 200 ohm pot. Got the 3 SIP resistors. We might as well get them done. They are 102, so 10 followed by 2 zeros, which ends up being 1000 or 1k ohm. There are 3 of them. They're all the same size. Bus pull-ups. End of package with dot goes towards end of board with expansion slots. Okay, so the dot also goes to the square pad, at least on this one. So, wow, that was interesting. That I'm having real trouble getting components in today. I hate dealing with these SIP resistors because they're really hard to get square. And he would have been a lot more difficult, in my opinion, to deal with the edge connector in place. So in these I typically only solder one pin. Where is he? I don't see it. There it is. That way I can check it for square. Because I can see just by the way the pins are coming through, it's not completely square. Though it looks, it's pretty square to the board. It's square enough to the board. That's the one up in the K7 position, or K12. Okay. For this guy. And there's two more at D10. D10 right there. Oh, it doesn't have a square pad. Towards the end of the board with the expansion slot, so it still goes in the same orientation. The question is can I actually get it to drop down in there? It's a tight spot down between those two IC sockets. And there's one at C10 right there. I remember seeing these footprints as I was putting in sockets. So I'm trying to use the tape to hold them square. Same thing, I will solder one pin. Pull the tape off, check for square, and then finish soldering. They're pretty well hidden down there, but still. Because once you get all the pins soldered, it's really hard to move them around. Not that it really matters if it's crooked. I just like it to look nice if it can. I think that was probably a pine cone hitting the roof. I have a lot of trees that overhang the roof. These two guys are in. It calls for the crystal, but I'm not ready for it yet. It stands upright, and it'll hit a lot flipping the board over, so the crystal really is going to hold off. Have I not opened this one yet? Nope, it's still got the factory seal on the outer bag. Color trimmer. 0.022 microfarads, which are those guys there. The 0.1, which are the decoupling, and a 47 picofarad, which H14, which isn't what I thought it was going to be. It's part of the video. This is a case where it'll be inserted with the markings facing out, away from the inductor next to it. Boy, those leads are grubby. Grubby. I'm just gonna try to knock some of the oxide off here gently without actually trimming the lead. Make it a little bit easier to solder up. Like I say, the markings are out facing away from the inductor, just so it's easier to read. and the board's hitting on it. Of course it is. So this is the thing, we're getting to higher profile components where we're no longer sitting on the sockets. We're starting to sit on discrete components. So that gives that 47 picofarad mica cap in place. There are 4.022s up here, of which only 3 are labeled. That's interesting. 4 parts at J13. Well, the bag didn't open correctly. It's really got to be those 4 there, though, and then there's a, what I'm assuming is a decoupling cap right below it. All the decoupling caps tend to have just the 2 pads with a white line between them like is there. So there's 4 body outlines, but only 3 markings. Will these drop in smoothly? Is there enough of a shoulder that they fit well? There is. I'm putting them all in so the markings in this case are facing down. Doesn't matter, they're not a polarized part, but it makes them consistent. The perfectionist in me is pleased by that. I do like consistency. I like, you know, I definitely have a good enough bar for a lot of things. But, you know, there's things worth putting a little bit of extra effort into. Let's just try to gently hold those in place. And we will solder one side of them. Take a look at them a second time. I don't like how that solder joint looks. Still don't like how that solder joint looks. They're pretty square. They look really good. Hear that car 20 times a day. You may have heard it there, you may have not. I think it's probably a little Japanese sports car with a resonator. At least that's my guess. I was once a foolish child as well. Not sure I want to mount that yet because the whole weight of the board's dropping down onto the little variable cap, and I'm not pleased with that. I don't want to break it. It definitely is a vintage part from the era, so there's a lot of mechanical stuff here still to do. There's edge connectors, and there's a whole sea of these little 0.1 microfarad ceramic caps. Like I said, they go in all the places where there's a dash between 2 pads. There's a number of them down here on the rams. They are just simply power decoupling. It provides a little storage area on the board where if a device switches and needs a little burst of current, it's locally available. So it reduces operating noise on the board. They're decoupling caps. I don't know that you need to sit and watch me solder those all in. It'll just be a continuation of what we're doing here. So This should be the 4th video in the series. In the 5th video, we will pick up with the mechanical parts here. There's some things to be done there. And the edge connectors, and we're getting seriously close to stuffing logic and starting to bring this thing up. So anyhow, I hope to see you in the next video, and we'll talk soon.